The memo says DHS seeks to expeditiously execute presidential guidance to protect the American people against invasion, foreign terrorists, and other national security and public safety threats. You know, what's hilarious is, remember a few months ago, Trump had like a dinner at the White House with like 200 oligarchs and wealthy people and donors, many of whom were foreigners, that he wouldn't reveal the list of who was actually on the list. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup on the ground. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the leading independent news outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. Breaking news: President Trump's invasion of Chicago appears imminent. This from secret government documents journalist Ken Klippenstein has obtained, showing that the Department of Homeland Security has already requested troops, essentially, to come to Chicago, and they are actively planning an imminent invasion of Chicago, which, in my view, is going to make what happened in LA a few months ago look like child's play. Let me show you. Again, this is from Ken Klippenstein, great reporting from his Substack. The Department of Homeland Security has requested military assistance for upcoming ICE operations in Chicago. According to a quote, for official use only memo I obtained, a military advance team has already arrived. Just think of the insanity of this, a military advance team to federalize a major American city. The documents request, quote, immediate Department of Defense support for ICE's enforcement and removal operations to address public safety and national security. Oh, yeah, because, you know, the violent crime in Chicago is a national security threat, unlike Memphis, which has one of the highest crime rates in America in a red state. Trump's not sending the troops there. Or the several other states that are very high in Republican states, cities in Republican states that are very high crime areas that Trump is not going to send the troops to. This is all for show, and it is the fascism creeping and creeping until it becomes full blown. Let me continue. The request specifically seeks, quote, support infrastructure, including highway access, fuel, and other logistical nodes, with the military staging out of the Great Lakes Naval Station in North Chicago, some 30 miles from downtown. Dated August 27th, so a few days ago, the request is from the Department of Homeland Security Executive Secretary Andrew Whitaker to Defense Department Executive Secretary Anthony Fusilero. Whitaker is a former Ralph Lauren brand ambassador and a longtime Trump politico. You can't make this up. The request begins, the Department of Homeland Security requests immediate Department of Defense support to provide existing infrastructure to ICE enforcement and removal operations, a component of DHS, to conduct operations in the Chicago, Illinois metropolitan area. This support is critical to ensuring the efficient and secure handling of aliens in accordance with federal regulations and in line with ICE's ongoing efforts to address public safety. And there's the document that Ken obtained. Again, this is from his Substack. The memo goes on to cite several of Trump's executive orders and declarations casting southern border immigration as a, quote, invasion and a, quote, national emergency. The memo says DHS seeks to expeditiously execute presidential guidance to protect the American people against invasion, foreign terrorists, and other national security and public safety threats. You know, what's hilarious is, remember a few months ago, Trump had like a dinner at the White House with like 200 oligarchs and wealthy people and donors, many of whom were foreigners, that he wouldn't reveal the list of who was actually on the list from foreign governments. For all we know, there were foreigners in the White House dining with Trump in exchange, you know, pay for play, because they were donating handsomely to Trump. I think it was crypto or some other bullshit. I mean, the corruption's just so in your face. It's been normalized, unfortunately. For all we know, they're involved with terrorist organizations, foreign governments who want to do bad things to the American people. But that's okay. Chicago is somehow linked to foreign threats. I mean, you just cannot make this stuff up. Earlier this week, when asked if he would deploy the National Guard to Chicago, Trump replied, "We're going in," adding, "I didn't say when." Well, sure seems like it's imminent, could be days. The document represents the first hint of when this will take place now. The memo also alludes to a month-long operation. DoD facilitates the use of Naval Station Great Lakes 30 days of operations in the Chicago metropolitan area, with the advance party arriving September 2nd, 2025, which was yesterday. Meanwhile, the Illinois National Guard insists that nothing has officially begun yet. No units have been activated, and we do not have an order or preparatory command for any mission, Deputy Director of Public Affairs for Illinois National Guard William Grove told Axios yesterday. Another Homeland Agency, Customs and Border Protection, is also being looped into the operation. At a press conference yesterday, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson expressed opposition to any military deployment. Johnson said that Chicago does, quote, not want or need military occupation in our city. Quote, we know before anything has happened here that Trump's plan is to use any excuse to deploy armed military personnel to Chicago. Pritzker said, if someone flings a sandwich at an ICE agent, Trump will try and go on TV and declare an emergency in Chicago. A couple important things here. Number one, according to Ken's reporting and the memo obtained, it seems that Trump is just skipping over the Illinois National Guard because states have their own National Guard soldiers. And he's just going straight to the military. So as you've seen in the video that Status Coup has obtained, because we, not the mainstream media, not other independent outlets, we have had our John Farina on the ground for 2 weeks now in D.C., thanks to you. So please continue supporting us so we could fund on-the-ground reporting, covering what the corporate media is covering up. It's so important. To be honest, we need your funding because costs are adding up. StatusCoup.com/join for as low as $5 a month. But let's be clear. Basically, the footage we've been getting is military soldiers in their full apparatus, their full camo, are literally standing around picking boogers and twiddling their thumbs, giving tickets and arresting people over traffic violations, like, not having the right tint color in your car or a headlight being out. They're literally having military checkpoints to arrest people for traffic violations that are minor. What do you think they're going to be doing in Chicago? And again, he's skipping over the Illinois National Guard and just bringing in the soldiers to stand around and hold their dicks in their hand. Sorry to be gross. I mean, this is absurd. And by the way, anyone notice that he's starting this up at the same time that the Epstein victims, as we covered this morning, John was out covering that press conference. He also asked a great question, by the way, to Congressman Thomas Massie. Could Trump be trying to bury the Epstein list because it might implicate a major Wall Street bank? Take a listen.
So that's another reason you see some people are reluctant.
But you're not afraid of that?
Yeah.
So in 2023, JP Morgan Chase paid $75 million to settle claims that the bank enabled Epstein's sex trafficking crimes. Is it possible these documents that Republicans and Trump are trying to prevent from coming out have important information that the banks knew about Epstein's
Absolutely. I mean, the first rule of any investigation is follow the money. So we got to follow the bank records. And that is one thing the Oversight Committee is doing that I applaud. Let's hope they get it out there. They can't just hold that information in their committee. Follow the money. Which accounts did it come from? Which accounts did it go to? And that's the quickest way to figure out who was doing what.
We banked Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm so sorry that we did it. I wish we hadn't. Had we known then, we know today, we obviously wouldn't have.
Isn't it interesting that Trump is building up now to this insane invasion of Chicago when the Epstein victims spoke out, when there is more push for this discharge petition that Ro Khanna, the Congressman Thomas Massie co-sponsored, to become law. And if it becomes law, by law, Trump, the Republicans would have to release the full Epstein files and documents. Not that they follow laws anyway. Very interesting that it seems he's accelerating this Chicago invasion, again, to distract from, I think, crimes he might be implicated in the Epstein files. It's ridiculous. And let's actually show you the facts here, because like in other major cities, the murder rate are going down in major American cities, particularly Chicago. I mean, look at this. Powerful graphic. Chicago just saw its smallest number of murder totals since 1965. 1965. The city is on track to see one of its lowest murder totals in decades, a trend in play all year that continued through the city's most violent season. Murders are way, way down after a spike. And you could look, that shows a very, very clear picture. Murders are way, way down. 123. Obviously, it's horrible when you have any murder, but they're way, way down compared to the last few decades. And to be clear, as in Chicago, as in DC, as in New York City, as in most major cities, murder is going down. You know what's going up? Petty theft, shoplifting, economic crimes, because the masses are starving in America in this new Gilded Age, this new economic Hunger Games, where our money is being stolen by the oligarchs, the aristocrats, the Trumps, the Pelosi's, and all the donors purchasing politicians in the Republican and Democratic Party. Okay, that's why the actual economic theft is the big crimes going on. That's why murder is going down. Economic issues are going up. And by the way, it just so happens Trump's illegal invasion of LA, which we covered, Tina Desiree Berg was on the ground for us for weeks. She got shot, for God's sakes. That's another reason you should support Status Coup as a paying member, because we led the charge in LA covering Trump's ICE Gestapo invasion of LA, statuscoup.com/join. But that was just ruled illegal. So a judge just ruled that his invasion of LA was illegal just yesterday. And now he's going to illegally invade Chicago again. Judge rules Trump illegally deployed National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles. U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer said using the California National Guard and the Marines to conduct law enforcement of the city violated a 19th century law. And there is now an injunction against using the National Guard in L.A. Let me show you. This was Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson over the last few days. His response to Trump now apparent imminent invasion of his city.
I'm signing an executive order today that will launch the Protecting Chicago Initiative. This is a project that builds on the months of preparation that we have done, that has led up to this very moment. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement. We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president. We do not want to see tanks in our streets. We do not want to see families ripped apart. We do not want grandmothers thrown into the back of unmarked vans. We don't want to see homeless Chicagoans harassed or disappeared by federal agents. And so this executive order makes it emphatically clear that this president is not going to come in and deputize our police department.
That was Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, whose popularity has been down in recent months, unrelated to Trump, but he's gotten a lot of support for fighting Trump. I also want to show you, this was Johnson pointing out that the gun crisis in places like Chicago is very, very much attributed to the illegal border crossings from, say it with me, Republican states.
But here's the truth. Donald Trump is the last person in America who cares about families on the south and west side of Chicago, those who are dealing with violence on a regular basis. He's the last person. The thought doesn't even cross his mind. If he did, he wouldn't have cut $800 million from violence prevention organizations. These are funds that would have gone towards organizations on the south and west side who are on the front lines driving down gun violence. He wouldn't have cut $468 million from ATF. He wouldn't be sending ICE and Border Patrols to Chicago. He would be sending ATF agents to Mississippi. He would be sending these agents to Indiana. He's worried about the wrong border. We don't have an immigration crisis in Chicago. We have a gun crisis, and the president could care less about the real solutions. In closing, violence in Chicago is not because we have too many immigrants. It's because we have too many guns. So our message to Trump continues to be the same. Stop posting truth socials. Stop making statements. Stop threatening to send troops or ICE. Stop defunding our communities. Just do your job and end the trafficking of guns into our city.
Strong words from the mayor. Like I said, it seems like this invasion is going to be imminent, and we want to be on the ground to cover it, just like we covered everything that went on in LA, and we've been covering for the last 2 weeks in DC since Trump's military takeover. So I am really asking sincerely, please, if you can, $5 a month is all we're asking. That's 16 cents a day. Become a member to Status Coup today. It's expensive to send a reporter, a cameraman to anywhere for longer than a few days. Flights, hotels, rent a car, food, and in this case, probably more protective gear for John, because Chicago police and then the troops, not a safe picture if you're a journalist. Please support us, statuscoup.com/join. We will update you as more develops.